So we start to learn QTC development.
Hey everybody, this is Brian, and want to talk a little bit about Qt and C++. And basically, what I wanted to cover instead of writing code is different aspects of the Qt community. What I've done is I've made some of these videos, and admittedly, I'm not an expert in either C++ or Qt. I'm still learning both. And neither of them are my native languages. I'm actually a C# programmer by trade. I just like learning other things, and I'm really falling in love with the Qt, and I hate to call it a framework because I've been corrected it's a library. And what I found is that when you find someone who knows more than you, you should generally pay attention to them because you can learn from their experience. So what I've gone and done is I've gone out to the Qt developer network. It's developer.qt.nokia.com/forums. And you can learn a lot from these people. I've been kind of reading the forums for a long time and searching, and they've been answering some of my questions. And I broke it down, and I actually went out and in the Qt Education, I actually posted it in general, but somebody moved it to Qt Education. And wow, there's my post right there. And I basically said, I made these videos, please review and give me any feedback. And I've gotten some just awesome feedback. I mean, people are really helping me out here. So they've kind of gone through and said, okay, video 1, video 2 at this time, and I've got permission to take these notes and put them right in the video comments. So I'm going to make kind of a dynamic errata, if you will. So I'm going to go through and just copy and paste into the comments. I don't want to do animations because I think they really distract from the video, and I personally don't like them. So I just wanted to take a moment and thank everybody who's kind of pitched in and done this, because I have, a kid, a job, a girlfriend, and very limited time and resources to do these videos. It's just kind of in my spare time. But I would implore you to go out to developer.qt.nokia.com/forums, and there is another one out there that I posted to, if I can find a link to it really quick here. Yes, www.qtcenter.org. That's another very good forums. Actually, let me open that up so you can see what this looks like here. So that's what the Qt Center forums looks like, and it looks kind of weird. But I said, I also posted in the official. But I've gotten some good feedback out there too. So kudos to everyone who's really helping me out. I'm learning a lot from just the feedback alone. I'm learning a lot from my mistakes, and it's always good to learn from somebody else. Don't ever take somebody else's criticism personally, because you're learning from their experience. They've already made the mistakes, and they're telling you, hey, wake up. You're going to make some massive mistakes. And what a couple people have pointed out is I've made some very glaring mistakes in those tutorials, and hopefully I'll find the time to fix it. But until then, I'm just going to post the notes in the comments, and we can all kind of learn together. Another thing I thought I'd mention is Nokia actually has some official video tutorials, and it's qt.nokia.com/developer/learning/online/training, and they've got all these videos out here. I think Mirko Brum is one of the instructors. I think his name's Torbe. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name fully. It's been a while since I watched these, and they're a very good starting point. I learned a lot from watching these videos. My only critique of their videos is they're coming from somebody who's fairly proficient with C++ and Qt, and it kind of, my eyes started glazing over on a couple of them because I had absolutely no clue what they're talking about. But I recommend you also go out there and watch those videos as well. But I just wanted to thank everybody for your feedback, and I will go over as much feedback as I can. It's going to take me time, and I will post comments and links as much as I can, and keep making videos and hopefully not make any major mistakes. So thank you for watching, and thank you for your feedback. And those of you following the Qt tutorials, I beg you, go visit those two forums, and you can learn a lot from everybody in the community.
Then we will know the first round, and the second column.
Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to the 33rd Qt tutorial with C++ and GUI programming. I'm going to continue our topic of threading, and rather than having you sit here and watch me type a bunch of code, I wanted to have some already written, because we've gone over this. Alright, we've just got our main file, and we have created a thread, or I should say we've created a subclass of QThread. Some have argued that this is not the correct way of doing this, and I've been reading up on the correct way of doing it, and we'll be covering that soon. Interestingly, though, this is the correct way of doing it according to Qt's own documentation and 3 books that I've read. So it's kind of interesting to see the disparity between the different parties, where some saying you subclass, some saying you don't subclass, and I'm trying to really understand the differences between the two. But that, anyways, sorry, that's outside the scope of this tutorial. What we're going to try to do today is launch a thread, and it's just a very simple, for int I equals 0 to 1000, and it's just going to print it out. But we want to know when this thread ends. We want to actually wait for it to end and then do something. I mean, if we just save and run it now, it just goes to 1000, and we have no idea when it actually ends. So what you do here, you say mthread wait. And what wait does is it creates a wait condition where you literally sit and wait for that thread to complete. And then when you're done, you can let's actually just include Qdebug there, that way we can just print something out. Qdebug, and we will say done, just so that we can see that we have in fact waited for that thread to complete. Save and run. And when you run it, you notice how it goes all the way up to 999 and then says done. Well, that went by pretty quick, so let's actually put a sleep in there just so we can see this thing hard at work here. And we'll say, oops, millisecond sleep, and let's just say 100. And we don't want to sit here all day, so let's just really kick this down to 10. And I better actually increase that a little more, because I'm going to have to drag the window out. So what this is going to do is count from 0 to 9, and it's going to sleep half a second in between each time. And at the end, it's going to say done. This would be useful, say, if you want to copy a file or something, and then once the file is done, you want to continue doing something else. So let's compile and run. And we'll just see it count down. And once the thread is done, it says done. So, pretty simple stuff. You should note, however, though, that while you're waiting for that thread, nothing else happens. So if you, some code here, it's not going to execute because this thread, this current thread, is in a wait condition. It's waiting for this thread right here to finish. So that's a pitfall that I've fallen into once before. So if you make that mistake, don't sweat it. We all do it. This is Brian. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video educational and entertaining. Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to the 33rd Qt tutorial with C++ and GUI programming. I'm going to continue our up on thread, and when it does, it work here. You run it, you notice how it goes all the way up, oops, and half of it is. So if you, some code here, code to go into sit, just all the way, and then we can do it. This is Brian. Thank you want to, well, that went complete. We're done. Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome. Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to the 34th Qt tutorial with C++ and GUI programming. Today we're not going to do any real programming. I wanted to answer some questions I've been getting from people about Qt Creator. What is it? Where do you get it? Okay, well, Qt Creator is an IDE developed by the Qt developers that complements the Qt libraries. It's the same IDE we've been using for all these tutorials. It comes stock with just tons and tons and tons of examples. Like, let me actually just open one up here. And when you open one up, it instantly flips to the reference material, which is something I love. So you can actually read the full help file about this before you actually even look at the code. And you can flip back and forth between the code and the help file at will. Where do you get this? Well, you go to qt.nokia.com/downloads, and you choose your LBGPL or the commercial version. I'm not going to really get into the differences between these two licenses, but you should really go out and read the fine print, see which one's right for you. I use the LGPL version, and as you can see, you can get it for Windows, all flavors of Linux, Mac, I mean, just about every relevant operating system out there. And you can download the libraries separately. Now the SDK is the libraries and Qt Creator all in one, but you can download them individually if you need to. And just kind of scroll down and then see all these different flavors of Qt Creator. Now if you don't like Qt Creator, you're not stuck with it. You can actually use Visual Studio add-ins. And there are other bindings out there, like there's Qt for Eclipse integration. So if you're an Eclipse fan, you can use that. So you're not stuck with any one technology. And because this is a cross-platform library, you can do this on any operating system you want. So just to recap, I mean, it's qt.nokia.com/downloads. I personally prefer Qt Creator. I use it in both Windows and Linux. In case you're wondering, I use KDE Linux, which is actually all of KDE is built with the Qt libraries. So let's go to Ubuntu. This is the operating system I use for my Linux environment. I dual boot Windows and Linux. Kubuntu.com. Maybe I'm mispronouncing that. I know it's Ubuntu, so it's Kubuntu for the KDE desktop. And it's actually very easy to set up. I was very surprised. I was studying for my Linux Plus exam, and I had no idea really what I was doing, but everybody said, try Ubuntu, and I tried it, and I liked it, but I like the KDE desktop better. So if you're really interested, try kubuntu.org and just kind of get involved with that operating system. It's got a lot of features. If you're coming from Windows, it might be a little difficult at first if you've never used another operating system before. But, I mean, as you can see from some of these screenshots, it's a very pretty operating system. It's fully customizable. I mean, I'm very impressed with it. So, anyways, I'm babbling on. This is Brian. Thank you for watching. Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to the 34th Qt tutorial with C++ and GUI programming. Today we're not going to do any real programming. I wanted to answer some questions I've been getting from people about Qt Creator. What is it? Where do you get it? Okay, well, Qt Creator is an IDE developed by the Qt developers that complements the Qt libraries. It's the same IDE we've been using for all these tutorials. It comes stock with just tons and tons and tons of examples. Like, let me actually just open one up here. And when you open one up, it instantly flips to the reference material, which is something I love. So you can actually read the full help file about this before you actually even look at the code. And you can flip back and forth between the code and the help file at will. Where do you get this? Well, you can go to qt.nokia.com/downloads, and you choose your LBGPL or the commercial version. I'm not going to really get into the differences between these two licenses, but you should really go out and read the fine print, see which one's right for you. I use the LGPL version, and as you can see, you can get it for Windows, all flavors of Linux, Mac, I mean, just about every relevant operating system out there. And you can download the libraries separately. Now the SDK is the libraries and Qt Creator all in one, but you can download them individually if you need to. And just kind of scroll down and then you see all these different flavors of Qt Creator. Now if you don't like Qt Creator, you're not stuck with it. You can actually use Visual Studio add-ins. And there are other bindings out there, like there's Qt for Eclipse integration. So if you're an Eclipse fan, you can use that. So you're not stuck with any one technology. And because this is a cross-platform library, you can do this on any operating system you want. So just to recap, I mean, it's qt.nokia.com/downloads. I personally prefer Qt Creator. I use it in both Windows and Linux. In case you're wondering, I use KDE Linux, which is actually all of KDE is built with the Qt libraries. So let's go to Kubuntu. This is the operating system I use for my Linux environment. I dual boot Windows and Linux. Kubuntu.com. Maybe I'm mispronouncing that. I know it's Ubuntu, so it's Kubuntu for the KDE desktop. And it's actually very easy to set up. I was very surprised. I was studying for my Linux Plus exam, and I had no idea really what I was doing, but everybody said, try Ubuntu, and I tried it, and I liked it, but I like the KDE desktop better. So if you're really interested, try kubuntu.org and just kind of get involved with that operating system. It's got a lot of features. If you're coming from Windows, it might be a little difficult at first if you've never used another operating system before. But, I mean, as you can see from some of these screenshots, it's a very pretty operating system. It's fully customizable. I mean, I'm very impressed with it. So, anyways, I'm babbling on. This is Brian. Thank you for watching. Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to the 34th Qt tutorial with C++ and GUI programming. Today we're not going to do any real programming. I wanted to answer some questions I've been getting from people about Qt Creator. What is it? Where do you get it? Okay, well, Qt Creator is an IDE developed by the Qt developers that complements the Qt libraries. It's the same IDE we've been using for all these tutorials. You can see it comes everywhere. You can flip back and you choose just kind of this on it. Very better. I mean, if you I mean, I don't like Qt. I really does love tutorial. Knock. Everybody, it's Brian.
Yeah. Really cool too. Yeah, you can download it today. Yeah. Oh my god. Okay.
Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to come up with. Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to the 35th Qt tutorial with C++ and GUI programming. Wanted to kind of wrap up our threading for a little bit. No, we haven't gone over everything, but the rest of the stuff on the threading topics are more advanced. So I kind of want to call this the basic threading tutorial, and we'll call this part 6, and this will be the last of the basic tutorials on threading. Okay. Have to back up a little bit. I had posted some comments in the official Qt forums and in Qt Center. Basically, it sparked some conversation on how threading should be done correctly. Now, if you go into the help and type Qthread and you get the Qthread class reference, and you click more, you can see that Qt's own documentation says to subclass Qthread. You can see here you have a class, and you've got a subclass of it, and you're overriding run. So that's why a lot of people do that. Now, some people out there have said that's not the way to do it. That's not correct. And there have actually been some disagreements in these various forums that I've been reading for the last couple days on how to do things. So what we're going to call this is how to do a thread correctly in Qt. And if you go to, and you can actually read part of this, if you go to blog.exys/entries/2010/qthread_affinity.html. I realize it's a long link, but you'll get this very, very nice how-to on threads and why this is done incorrectly. See affinity mistake, and he talks about how you make a subclass and it's not correct, and then he says doing it right. And I'm going to summarize the whole thing for you in case you don't want to read it. It says the easiest thing to remember is never put a Q object on a Q thread, because a Q thread is not an object. Basically, it's all you need to know. And what he says is you have a worker and you have a main thread, and you have an object and you move it to a thread. And we're going to kind of build a real demo, very simplified demo application. The problem with threading is it's very hard to come up with an example in 10 minutes or less in real time. So I want to try and keep this as easy as possible. So let's go ahead and close that. Let's just jump right in. And we are going to make a new console application. And we'll call this Threads Done Right. Put it in your usual location. Next, finish. And we get our just, normal app. So first thing we want to do here is actually add a new class. So we're going to say a new C++ class. We're going to call it myThread. I'm sorry, let's not call it myThread, let's call it myObject. That way we don't get these confused. The base class is going to be QObject. And let's just hit finish. And you see how we now have a class that is a subclass of QObject. So we're not subclassing QThread anymore. Now, we've got a little bit of work ahead of us, and I'm going to kind of whip through this really fast because, believe it or not, when you're recording, 10 minutes goes by very quickly. So let's just add our includes here. And I have to apologize if my typing is atrocious. I'm and trying an experiment with my vision. I wear glasses because I'm nearsighted, and I'm going to try and wean myself off my glasses because my vision has been progressively getting worse over the years. My daughter thinks I'm just a total moron for doing this, but I really don't want to wear bifocals, and I dread the thought of getting eye surgery. Okay. Now we need a slot. I want to say void do work. And let's actually make another one called, or not a slot, let's make a function called do setup. And setup takes a queue thread, I should say a reference to a thread. Alright, now we've got our basic header here for our class, and now we need to actually implement this. And let's go into the implementation file here. Alright, now let's say void my object. And if you're kind of wondering what I'm doing here, let me explain really quickly. Oh, what did I call that option? Kind of lost myself there. What we're doing here is we're setting it up so that we're going to pass a reference to this thread, and we're going to connect signals and slots to it. And the reason why we're doing that is because we want to start this object on a different thread without actually subclassing the thread. Sounds really confusing, but I promise you towards the end of this it'll all make sense. Took me a little bit to figure it out too, but it really worked. So, connect. And first thing we're going to do is say thread, and the signal is going to be started. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect when the thread is started, and we're going to connect it to this. And we're going to say slot. Hope if I could spell. And the slot is going to be do work. Remember that slot we created, which we are now going to implement here. So we'll say void my object do work. So in short, once the thread is created, it's going to call this slot right here. Or I should say the signal will be emitted, and then the slot will be generated. And right here is where we will do some of our work. So for int I equals 0, and I less than, just to say 100. Qdebug, and let's just send some information out here. And, whoops. Very simple. Now, let's actually just build this, make sure we get a clean compile out of this. And it compiled, so let's go back into our main. Now we need to connect everything all together, and this is where the actual work is going to be. So we need a couple includes here, because we're going to create a queue thread. And then include, geez, maybe I should have worn my glasses. My object. I wonder how many of you out there have actually tried to type without wearing your glasses. I thought it would be easy, but it's actually quite a challenge for me. Queue thread, we'll say C thread. So we're just going to make a thread object, and then we're going to make a my object. And now we're going to set it up. So we'll say C object. Oh, what did we call that? This is what happens when you get older, kids. Your memory goes away. Do setup is what we called it. So do setup, and we are going to basically just pass it the C thread that we just created. And now we're going to call something which is the part of the queue object class. It's move to thread. This is where the real work happens. This is where the real magic happens here. And you notice how it takes a pointer, so let's actually just hand it the address. And now we need to start that thread. So real quickly, before we run this, let's kind of go through this really quick here. We are creating a thread. We are creating a myObject class, which is just a subclass of a queueObject. and then we're calling this do setup, and we're handing it the thread. And when we go into do setup, really all we're doing is we're just connecting the signals and slots. We're saying, hey, when that thread emits the started signal, connect it to the do work slot. So when the thread starts, we're going to call do work. Now, here's where the magic happens. Move to thread. What we're doing is we're saying take this object and move it into this thread. That way you're not subclassing the thread, but you're moving it to the thread. Now, why would you do that? I mean, we've always subclassed the QThread, and it's worked fine. Well, from some of the discussions I've read, and I'm sure many of you will correct me if I'm wrong, signals and slots are not meant to be run with QThread, which I find interesting because QThread itself emits signals and etc., etc. But this is the correct way of doing it. And then, of course, you run the thread start. And when you call start, the signal's emitted, the slot's called, and the code runs. So let's compile and run this. And if everything goes good, sure enough, it ran. Let's actually slow this down just a little bit. I don't know about you, but I really like seeing things work. So we'll call ms sleep. Nope, we can't do that, can we? Why? Because we don't have the context of the QThread object. So what we'd have to do if we wanted to call thread, which I'm running out of time so I can't do, but we would just keep a reference to this thread object, and then you can make the thread sleep. So, well, I'm sure you have many questions. I know after reading all those tutorials, I was kind of left bewildered, wondering why is this the correct way of doing it, and the QThread subclass is wrong, even though, I've read 3 books on Qt programming, and the official documentation even says to make a subclass. Well, the only answer I can give you is this is really a testament to how flexible Qt is. You can just make it do just about anything you want, and it's very flexible and it's very strong. I have yet to actually crash Qt, where I have crashed the Java framework and I've crashed .NET many times. So, anyways, this is Brian. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video educational and entertaining, and we're going to step away from the threading for a little bit and go back into some GUI stuff, and we'll come back to threading, I should say advanced threading, later on. Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to the 35th Qt tutorial with C++ and GUI programming. Wanted to kind of wrap up our threading for a little bit. No, we haven't gone over everything, but the rest of the stuff on the threading topics are more advanced. So I kind of want to call this the basic, but some people out there have said that's not the way how to doing it on an object. Basically, application. I want to try and keep this as easy as possible. So let's go ahead and finish using that. I'm just a total moron. Now we connect signals and slots to it. And the reason why we're doing this, what we're going to do, I should say that for this, make sure it's a the slot kernel and run that. We would to you entertain the books on to keep it good. And then of course you run the thread start, which I from some and stuff. This happens here. Something to do set and say create a going to rules valid. So as we here's test sub, so let's upload my app. Take me to HTML should be basic. Wanted to kind of wrap up our threading for a little bit. No, we haven't. Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to the 36th Qt tutorial with C++. Alright, today we're going to cover the QList. So let's just go File, New, Console, and we'll call this My List. Place it in the usual place. Alright, now we've got a very simple application here. We're just going to have a couple includes. So we're going to include QList, and we're going to include QDebug, just so we can print things out. And this is going to be a pretty simple app, but it's going to be pretty powerful. The QList is a container. And what is a container? Well, a container is something you put other things into. If you've worked with things like .NET or Java or even just C++ as containers, you're probably fairly familiar with these concepts, but I wanted to go over them because Qt has its own little way of doing things. So let's go QList. And give it a generic of int, and we'll call it list. And now that we have our list, we can actually put things into it. So let's just say for int I equals 0, and we want to do I is less than 10, I plus plus. So we're just going to increment I, and we're going to say list append, and we're just going to place the I in there. So when we run this, basically all we're doing is we're saying for I equals 0 to 10, so 0 to 9, basically. We're going to keep incrementing, and we're just going to put the number in the list. And then we're going to just print it out. So we'll say for each int and number list. And for each is a cute macro, which makes it very easy to literally do a for each. You're familiar with this concept from things like Java and C# and Visual Basic. And let's just say number. And when we run this, let's go ahead and run it. It should just print out a nice little list. So there's 0 through 9. So let's review here in case this is fairly new to you. The QList is a list container, and we have a generic. A generic simply means that this container can hold multiple types of objects. But rather than just saying it can hold a object X, we're saying a specific type of object. So that we know we're putting a specific type of object into it, and we get a specific type of object out of it. So we're simply going to say, fill our list, and then for each item in the list, we're going to print it back out. That, in a nutshell, is the basics of a QList, how to add things. Now, you can do things, for example, you can remove from the container too. For example, list, and let's just say remove, and let's just say remove 1. Let's say we want to remove 5 from that list. 5's been bad, we just want to get rid of 5. So when we run this again, you notice how it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's no 5 because we removed it from the list. And in case you're wondering, yes, you can create your own classes and put them in a list. So let's say you want to make a bunch of kittens. You're going to have a list of kittens. Instead of using int, you would just say kittens, and then you call it appropriately. So that's the bare bones basic of the QList and a containers. Short video, I know, but I just wanted to throw this topic out there because we're going to cover it in a few more videos. This is Brian. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video educational and entertaining. Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to the 36th Qt tutorial with C++. Alright, today we're going to cover the QList. So let's just go File, New, Console, and we'll call this My List. Place it in the usual place. Alright, now we've got to change C++. Going to put the number in the list. And then sharp. We're simply going to say remove 1. Let's say we want to remove 5 from that list. Let's line up for this top, cover it in a few. If this is Brian found this video, type up 0, 30 times 0, on a pretty usual QList. Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to the third. Hey everybody, it's Brian, and welcome to the 37th Qt tutorial with C++ and GUI programming. Today we're going to continue our conversation about the QList. So we'll just go New, Console Application, and let's say List again. Let's just throw this out in the usual location here. Alright, and let's just throw our includes. And we're going to include QDebug so we can print some things out here. And once again, we're just going to very quickly, let's see, QList, create a list item here with ints, call it list, and this should be, should all be review for you at this point. We'll say less than 10, and I plus plus. Alright, and we're just going to say list, if I spelled it right, list.append, and I. So we're just going to fill our list here. And we're going to do something a little different in this tutorial. You already know how to fill things and remove things, so we're going to talk about how to navigate through the list a little bit. Well, there's this thing called a QList iterator. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. There it is, QList iterator. And you give it the generic type so it knows exactly what it's moving over. We're just going to call it iter. And we're going to give it the constructor of the list object, or the container. Now, one thing we have to do here is we have to figure out where we are in the list. Well, by default, we're at the beginning. So what we're going to do is we're going to say while, I'm going to say iter has next, and we're just going to say qdebug iter.next. Now, it's important to note that the iterator is not the actual item, it's just a pointer to it. So really what we're doing here is we're saying get kind of a dictionary, if you will, of this list, and then we're going to start at the beginning. And then we're going to say if you have a next item, go to the next item. You notice how this is a function. Well, what this is doing is it's actually returning the next item. So let's just save and run. And sure enough, there we go. Now, another neat thing you can do is you can say, how do we do this in reverse? In other words, how do we go from the highest to the lowest? So say iter to back, and that moves it to the back of the list. And we'll just say iter has previous. And then we're just going to get the previous item here. So when we run this, sure enough, it goes from highest to lowest. So that's how you can navigate through the list here. Actually pretty simple to do. Now, one thing you can also do is you can peek. And what a peek is very simple. Let's say you want to know what the next item is without actually moving to it. So you'll say if iter dot, let's see here, iter. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses again. Say have previous. And then we'll just say, let's just copy and paste this here. We'll say pick previous, because we want to know what the next item is without actually moving to it yet. And we'll just say next. Save and run. So we can see that we're printing out 9, so that's where we currently are, and we're going to peek ahead. See, the next one is 8, and then we're going to actually move to it. So that's how the peek works. And there is a peek previous and peek next. Sorry about that. So that, in a nutshell, is the QList iterator and how to navigate through the list. Pretty simple stuff. Well, this is Brian. Thank you for watching. I hope you do it. And we'll just say next. Yes, that's next. And then, still lower, this is a function, if you will. QDebug tool and used with C++ and GUI programming. Today we're going to
Okay, so in the afternoon I will cut the rest and see you in the afternoon.